Hello and welcome to Talking Hoosier Baseball. Today is Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. I'm Carl James, joined by Chris Fenny. The Indiana Hoosiers have now played both of their fall ball exhibition matches against other opponents. They hosted Eastern Illinois 2 weekends ago, and this past weekend they traveled to Indiana State. You see a picture of that in my background here. And there was a lot to take in. Both matchups included 14 innings of play. Got to see especially a lot of new arms for IU pitch. There's a lot that we got to take a look at. So Chris and I are going to pick out a few things and just kind of talk about what we saw in those exhibition matchups. Chris, what do you got for us?
Well, first, I really thought having coach switch it up and go to games earlier was big. I know this is the earliest we've got to go to opportunity for a fall ball game, where they're usually doing the drills, almost for another month, I feel like. So I really appreciated being able to see them go out and play another opponent, especially with all the new faces, whether it's incoming freshmen or transfers and all these new arms that we got to see. Because obviously pitching was the big issue last year, right? All the football score games and we'd put up 17, but then we'd give up 18. And we got to see so many new arms over the two 14-inning, weekends. And whether it was Eastern Illinois or Indiana State, basically it seemed like he ran the same rotation out, and we got to see a lot of the guys twice, which was really cool. And in certain situations, like a lot of the guys faced certain parts of the order that they did both times. And I really like the way he set it up. It was obviously done with a plan. It was really it just gave a positive thought on the whole thing, just seeing all these new arms and from all different parts of the country, right? We got a guy from Siena, we got JUCO transfers, Western Kentucky, all these guys mixed around to this brand new pitching staff. And it was really, really it was a positive vibe where the pitching from last season, obviously sometimes until the end of the season really wasn't. So definitely looking forward to this new batch of arms, and I would think Coach Glenn is too.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In addition, at least I wasn't able to track velocity in the second series, but in the Eastern Illinois series of the BART, I actually took a look at the velocities and really kind of tracked the the um, the pitch assortment and how the pitch progressions worked. And it seemed very different for this staff. When you have typically in the past in the fall, when you've seen a pitcher that hasn't pitched for IU before, you tend to see it be very fastball heavy. And even in games, IU has traditionally been a bit more fastball heavy than other programs. And maybe this is a side effect, I'm guessing, because IU has generally tries to track with what the latest thinking is in professional baseball. And when you have a pitching coach that comes from the professional ranks, I think that tracks as well. So it's becoming a bigger thing in professional baseball to throw more off-speed pitches. Hitters are like our hitters are getting very good at being on fastball timing, not missing fastballs. And you need to mix it up. You need to mix up changeups. I know the staff likes the changeup as a secondary pitch, and then the various assortments of breaking pitches that these guys have. So you saw a lot of off speed, but that's not to say you didn't see velocity, because you did see velocity. You saw some high velocity. We actually had a freshman hit the D1 heat sheet at 96. So there was plenty of speed, but it wasn't dominated by speed. And it's like, even if a pitcher is not quite ready or doesn't have the ability in this game to hit both sides of the plate with a fastball, they're able to go on a 2-0 to a changeup, or be able to throw a slider or a breaking ball. Keep these hitters off balance, and also use the stuff that they're able to locate. They're able to get into the strike zone, because above all else, get the ball in the strike zone and let the defense take care of it. Now we still did have 5 hit by pitches in 28 innings. But that's not, that again, it's fall ball. You're going to see some of that. Actually, the very first at bat was a hit by pitch. That was not a great sign.
That was the nod. That was the nod to last year. They just needed to get it out of the way.
Yeah. It was an 8 pitch at bat. There was at least it was like on the 9th pitch that the guy, and it wasn't like it was a plunk. It was like the guy's like foot barely got hit or something. But hey, that stuff happens. But fall ball, lots of new pitchers. Managed to kind of keep that mostly under control. Strikeout to walk ratio that was pretty darn good. 29 strikeouts to 10 walks. So almost a 3-to-1 ratio in strikeouts to walks. So hopefully that will be a trend that will continue. And to the point that Coach made, it's really not that they're not going to spend so much time on individual drills, but part of it is that a lot of the individual drills are going to now take what they've learned and the notes that they have from these 2 matchups and say, okay, this is what we learned, so let's go work on the things that we learned, or either opportunities, things we can fix. I think we saw some ups and downs defensively. We saw some really good plays. There were a couple of innings where things kind of, mistakes kind of snowballed into runs. But again, Coach looks at that as a positive opportunity, because that's the reminder that, you need to execute at a very, very high level. A single mistake can lead to multiple runs.
I think so. And also with the drills, it's not that they were just for newcomers on the team, right? Last year, he's had a whole new hitting approach he's bringing in. And he also did mention that a lot of the bats are back, right? So maybe a lot of those drills were for the hitting approach. And since a lot of the guys hit last year, and it's going to be a lot of the same offense, I think he didn't have to spend so much time early on that, which made a lot of sense to me when he explained it on the field when we talked to him. And as far as the pitching, you mentioned, it was 3-to-1, strikeout to walk and stuff like that. And I already know, I also noticed a lot of missed bats, lots of swings and misses. And for whatever reason, I feel like last year we didn't see a lot of that, right? I don't think we had guys confused. I don't think we had guys off balance. And again, the competition is what it is. But, you're seeing the guy swing and miss and look confused and doesn't seem to, be teeing off on our guys. And also, obviously, the strikes that are being thrown. The walks and hits by pitches was all that was going on last year. So we were throwing strikes, guys were missing, swings and misses were big. It was really encouraging for me. Obviously, this is just fall ball, but you know what? It could have went the other way. We saw Eastern Illinois pitching change after pitching change, and the doubleheader takes 6 hours. We pitched clean. We really did. I think Clint's got to be very impressed with what he saw, even if it's early on. And it just shows that the opportunities here for these new faces to make something work and work with Glenn and work with Coach Mercer to really focus on being the new staff, right? This is a new thing. Yeah, we got Holderfield, we got Ty. I'm sure there's names that I'm not thinking of that are still here, but a lot of them aren't. Okay, this is a majority new pitching staff, and it's good to see. I'm unfortunately, I wish there was some more of these. I really like seeing them go at it against other competition, right? But I am grateful it was early. I really like this setup better. And for whatever reasons, whether it was the hitting drills, was what you mentioned as far as they're going to work on in their personal drills, what they learned in these games. It was a really good opportunity, and it was fun to watch. It really was. The bats, okay, 24 runs the first Friday night. Obviously, we did a little better, but I think the pitching was much better on the Saturday at Illinois State. Okay, those innings were much more clean. It actually felt like more of a baseball game, right? Where I think Friday night was like a mishmash, and it just felt more like a scrimmage, to be honest. Yeah, Indiana State felt more like a game, right? The couple of lead changes, it basically felt like what we play against them anywhere in a midweek. One of these wild games out in this Bob Warren field that go right down to the end, and Dunham's hitting bombs, and then Ashley's hitting bombs. And only the time now, it was Josh Pine and Colopy and Carter Matheson.
Well, Carter Matheson did hit one there in the spring, so
okay. Yep.
I
think
game.
You know what it is. There's been so many. There's been so many of these wild games against them. I'm mixing classes together. I really am. We've had some fun ones against that Indiana State.
Yes, we have. When I look at the stats, the thing that comes out the most for me on the pitching end is you look at the four guys. Sorry, there were four. There were five. Four of the five guys that pitched 3 full innings over the course of these 2 games. Seti Menes, Ben Seiler, Luke Sinnard, and Gabe Levy. They each pitched 3 innings, gave up no runs. Looks like it was only 3 hits and no walks in that group. So that's 12 innings of work among those 4 pitchers that only included 3 base runners. It was some pretty impressive results out of that group. And it looked good too. I mean, and as we saw, there were a few Hoosiers who struggled, and these teams, these are good, solid D1 programs. Both programs that had winning records last year, and when IU made mistakes, they capitalized on those mistakes. So I feel that the numbers, are representative, and all those guys pitched in both games. So I feel that it's on the surface early on. There's a lot to be happy about. But again, as I said, 3 total innings, 2 one game, 1 the other. A big, part of the big question is there's going to have to be guys that are able, to pitch starter level innings and be effective for that. And that's what, we're really not going to have a good picture of that until mid to late February to see what these guys are really capable of when they go up on the road against really good competition. So we will see that. For the most part, we were feeling kind of confident about this point last year. Now that was all with a group of returning relievers. And we do have our group of returning relievers, like you said, Chris, because you do have Holderfield, Kraft, Hayden, and then the other returner
Bothwell
is the starter, Bothwell. Technically, Yoho is returning, but he has yet to actually see action in a game. So that's it. 5 guys off of that were on the staff last year, 4 of which pitched. And we don't know what those roles are going to look like. We know Ty Bothwell is capable of being a starting pitcher, but what those roles look like will be based on if there's going to be competition for those roles. Plus, the other thing is you can't necessarily say that a starting role, any starting role, is more important than like the first reliever out of the gate. A lot of times that first reliever is almost like the 3rd most important overall guy on the staff, that first reliever to come out. But it's a huge number of arms. And I think they're going to be able to put together a staff of, maybe 11 or so guys that are able to contribute on a consistent basis. And really, they don't need to be fantastic. The capabilities of this offensive group, you're only looking at this offense needing to replace 1 starter. And at this point, you've already got a guy who's already made all freshman team, all Big Ten freshman team, ready to slot into one of those slots. You've got a new freshman that's already making a lot of noise out there. So I'm feeling really good offensively. Yeah, they didn't perform fantastic at Indiana State. To Coach's point, offenses have bad days, weren't as dialed in as they should be, and it's something they can learn from. But we know what they're capable of. We know what these guys are capable of, and they're capable of producing. And against really good competition, like they did against Maryland in Omaha. So I think there's a lot to be positive, a lot to think about as positivity, but there's also a lot that we just need to sit back and and analyze and enjoy as the rest of the fall progresses. Now they're not going to be playing any external teams anymore. They're only allowed to do that twice, but they're going to be doing drill work and intra-squad scrimmages, and they've got about another month worth of work to go here in the fall. What is there one or two particular things you want to call out left about what we saw, and any particular players?
Well, I was thinking, you mentioned him without mentioning him just now, Devin Taylor. The show he put on Friday at the BART. Now, I've seen this kid play, going up through Cincinnati, the high school ranks, and of course, we knew he was coming. Okay, it wasn't like, oh, wait a second, who's this? We knew he was a 5-tool guy. We knew he can run, he can field, he can throw, he can hit. We knew the baseball IQ was there. But to finally see it right in front of your eyes was really impressive. From the minute he got in the game to the minute it was over, he was either running the bases, making catches in the outfield, threw the guy out at third. I don't care what the ump said. He threw the guy out at third. Really, really talented kid. And to have him playing first base, now that I didn't know. They're saying he played some in high school. I don't know, maybe freshman year? I never heard about him playing first base. And he looked good out there. Even when I was watching this, when he was playing first at Indiana State, because of where he was sitting, even when he was throwing the warm-ups, he was very focused on his footwork, on how to stretch from the bag. Whoever's working with him, again, he doesn't have too much experience there. What I tell you that or not, he really is taking it in. Probably looks at it as another challenge, like I'm sure these guys do. Like, sure, I want to get on that field. I'll play anywhere, right? I'll catch. We're gonna have to be the catcher if we have to. But Devin Taylor was very impressive. Again, we knew who he was, but to actually see it right there was real cool. I really look forward to seeing him. The progression of Josh Pine, obviously, we know who he is. We know what he does. But for him to hit 3 bombs already, what was it, 13 total bases, right? He led the team in total bases from the stats that you put together. And great job, by the way, with that scorebook. Carl was all over it, whether it was the live blog at the BART or the gigantic scorebook at Indiana State. We had everything. And Josh Pine with 13 total bases. Really, the sky's the limit for this guy, right? And we know between him, Matheson, and Tibbetts, they step up this year. We're looking for a progression season. Okay, Carl mentioned a lot of the guys in the pitching staff last year that we wanted a progressing season from, that we might have assumed. We did assume a progression. We didn't get it, right? We didn't get it. A lot of the people, a lot of the players, we thought were going to step up and do this and do that, and it just didn't work out. Now, I'm even more confident that these bats are going to do even better this year. And to see how good they were doing already, I think it sky's the limit for these kids. At the plate, obviously, LS Glasser, these are vets. We're not going to worry about them. But you know what? There's sometimes guys hit a little wall sophomore season. I don't see it from them. This sophomore class has been through things we haven't even heard about, whether it's COVID and having the season shut down and having to work all on your own, all by yourself, right? This class is tough, all around the country, not just Hoosiers, any D1 athlete. They were forced to be able to do this on their own without coaching staffs, a whole season lost and all this. And I feel terrible for them that it even happened. But really, what you're going to get out of it is that, you know what? You can do this on your own, and they've motivated themselves. They had to. Some of these kids were like meeting up at batting cages just to practice. You'd hear stories about town all around Indiana that were meeting anywhere they could to play, whether they were supposed to be doing it or not, during COVID and all that time. So this sophomore season, I look for Tibbetts, Matheson, and Pine could really be a breakout, opportunity. Who else? Taylor, those were big for me as far as, if I could just look real quick. A couple of things that I really like seeing. Well, just seeing Tyler Cerny on the field. Really nice to see him being with the program now. Great shortstop. All right, freshman. Seeing Evan Goforth at second base, he had some great turns at the bar, double plays and stuff. And it looks like they're going to really push him for maybe a middle infield spot. He was real impressive with the glove. Hunter Jesse at the plate, another one. Not that we don't know him, right? I remember, what was it, LSU? He's out there playing right field. We weren't exactly sure what he was. He wasn't this highly ranked player. But now we know him, right? He cracks, he hits it, he's hustled. He's another person trying to keep somebody out of a job. There's a lot of competition on this team to get on the field, and I think that's a good thing. But really, was nice to see from a lot of different players. Really good showing, I thought. Yeah, there was a lapse of offense in that second game, but even from that game, a lot of the impressive stuff was noticed.
Yep. And that's going to be, it's going to be tough because there are so many good outfielders. And if you look at, I kind of sorted my list by OPS, two of the three best OPS. Now, granted, they didn't have as many at bats as the others, but even still, Morgan Columby and Ethan Fakrumba really hit well over the course of this week. In fact, Columby had the best overall OPS because he went 6 for 4 with 2 doubles. So,
and the bomb.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the bomb.
Columby didn't hit a home run. Yeah,
no, I didn't record one.
Yeah, he hit one late. He hit one in like the last offensive inning.
I thought that went off the wall.
I thought it was
a bomb.
I think he hit a home run. We might have to check the tape, Carl. I don't know. I could be wrong. I thought he did hit a home run, but Fakrumba had that nice triple at the bar. I know that. I remember that slide into third. It was nice to see him out there too. One of the guy that was kind of quiet was Ellis, and I was surprised, but he's catching for the first time in a while. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he just he had that game face though. He was absolutely taking it serious. I can tell you that. When he took the field early on at the bar when we first started getting there, you would have thought he was about to be, taking in a Big Ten conference game, not a fall ball in the middle of September. But we know Ellis's bat will be there. And let's see who else. I'm trying to think if there's.
Yeah. Sorry, you're right. It was a home run. I don't know how I missed
it. I was there, Carl. I remember it.
How did I not write that down properly? I wrote it down. I obviously didn't keep. So Colopy's numbers. He has the best OPS numbers, and I didn't even write down his home run. So
yeah, it was the last offensive. So I guess it was the top of the 14, right? Yeah.
Yep.
But lots of offense, and Ellis didn't even crush it like we know he can. But they they took it very serious. I noticed too, and even in that defensive inning where Coach explained to us about how the headset wasn't working or whatever, and there was some problems, that didn't bleed into like the whole game. That was like a 1 inning thing, couple of throwaways, and then, damn, what did it lead to later? 19 consecutive pitching outs for us, right? Between different pitchers, 19 batters in a row retired. Indiana State up and down. It was great.
Yeah. But Ellis has made a progression in his game, which is maybe he's not always crushing the ball, but he still managed to hit 250. I mean, he's still managing. He's still managing to get hits. He's still managing to get on base. Even if he doesn't connect on a particular pitch in a particular weekend, he's still being productive. There are no holes. When this lineup gets going, there are no holes in it. There is no place to rest. There's no place, we can throw a guy for an inning who we don't really trust. No. This offense is gonna challenge anybody.
Absolutely. And then this AJ Shepard, I could throw that name out for you. He was a catcher. He didn't get any game action. He was warming up some guys in the bullpen. But that's another bat. Maybe not in the non-con. Maybe that bat comes around in conference play or even next season. But watch for AJ Shepard. I mean, he can crush it. He's going to add some power to this lineup at some point. I'm gonna take a write down on that one. Yeah, it was fun. It was a really good time, and I really thought that the opportunity for them, like they took it serious. It wasn't just getting silly with it or anything. Even in the 24-12 game, those runs that we put up late, I mean, they were out of the dugout. They were cheering. it was really, it was, to me, it was impressive. Like if I'm playing a game and I'm up like 26-4 or whatever it is, and it's practice, I don't know if I would have stayed so focused, but the group really seems together. And a lot of the guys who were playing late on Friday night, maybe hadn't gotten in too much. And the guys on the bench were right there for them. And that was real good to see too. I think the leadership in the room is strong, but we know it is, right? Because most of the leaders are back, the voices in that room, whether it's Glasser and Ellis and Whalen, right? I feel like we haven't mentioned his name. We know that those three are really the rock of this clubhouse. And I think the program couldn't be in better hands. We've seen what happened last year. They've been through it. All right, the start. What did we look it up? It was like 1-6 start, and it didn't go well. And then you go back to the previous season. The end didn't go well, and so we want this year in 23. We want to come out of the gate strong, and we want to end strong, and we want to be playing June baseball. It's been a little bit too long without having a chance to go to the regionals. You know what I mean?
Yes, it has. Which also led to in the D1 listings, IU fell from the low 30s to 42 in program rankings, which is still an excellent program ranking for a Big Ten program. Don't get me wrong; that is a very good ranking. But IU wants to be higher than that. IU wants to be able to be competing at an elite level as a top 30 Division I baseball program. And we know they're capable.
How often do they do those, Carl? How often do they do those?
They do them. They usually do them every 2 years. It's been because of COVID. It's been a 3-year wait on this one. So yeah, it was about a 11-point drop. But in the last 5 years, there was there were 2 regional appearances in the last 5 years, so that that helped. There's going to need to be some regional appearances, and to get that number up, they're going to be consistently in the regional, and hopefully go farther than that. Hopefully go win a regional. That would be a real big help to this. These guys are capable of it. The real question. We know this offense is capable of it. The real question is the pitching and the pitching depth, the ability to throw strikes and be able to do it for enough innings to play 4 or 5 games and not have a significant drop off happen and have guys you can really rely on. By the end of the season, the first part of the season, it was really rough because there was people were all over the place, including the guys that eventually figured it out. But there was a group that eventually figured it out. Most of those guys got drafted and are playing professional ball now. And I think it was important to see the progression of those guys. And this is the thing. IU is so blessed with really smart coaches. And part of those smarts is that they're a humble group. They recognize what the opportunities are. They're not a defensive group of guys. They are very smart. They see the issues. They understand what didn't go well. And you can see the progression of the season that the Dustin Glant made with that pitching staff, to be able to do what they did in the Big Ten tournament against the best of the Big Ten, to compete that deep into the tournament and be competitive, to be into that third. And this is the thing: it wasn't just that they beat Maryland; they beat Maryland in the 3rd game.
Yep.
You don't. They said it's never happened that an 8 seed has knocked off a 1 seed. In an elimination game. That's not happened before. And the reason that it happened this time was that IU was able to maintain the pitching that long. Now it was only that long because the middle of the night game against Rutgers did not go nearly as well.
2 in the morning, unbelievable.
But the number of pitchers that they have brought in, what they've gone through in the transfer portal, to identify guys that they think that, first of all, that have significant D1 experience, that have starting experience, and then the fact that they're clearly already working with them on making vast improvements. And you also have guys in different stages. You have graduate students, you've got guys that have just maybe 2 years of experience, and of course you've also got true freshmen. Don't know how many of them are actually gonna see action in the spring, but you put all that together and it's amazing. And the thing is, they've already, as a staff, have shown what they can do. They almost completely turned over the position player group last year, and that group was exceptional. So now it's almost a complete turnover of the pitching staff this season. And if they don't even need to match that. They just need to come close to it. They really just need to be able to keep a game under control. Because I mean, how many of those games that just got out of control where the offense clearly scored enough runs to win almost any game?
We could have gave up 11 runs and won a bunch of games, but we gave up 17. I 100% agree with what you're saying. We don't need, to put it in like a football reference, we don't need the hot new quarterback Peyton Manning to take it over. We'll take a Chad Pennington, okay? We'll take a Chad Pennington. We'll take the ball, the what do they call the game manager? We would take that with this offense. We absolutely would. It's such a great point. And the way you said it with the flipping from pitching to hitting. Now we put expectations on some of those pitches last year, and we are putting expectations on hitters this year. But for whatever reason, I feel better about it this way, and I think there's more of a track record, right? The hitters have more years in the game, more experience than those pitchers. A lot of us, we were just expecting a step up that next year, and it didn't happen. And you mentioned how deep we were in the Big Ten tournament. Let's not minimize winning 4 out of the 5 last big series to even get in the damn thing. Okay, that was big. And when we wrapped up the season, I remember saying it, like, overall the season wasn't a success, but if you just look at how the stretch run was, and if you look at the Big Ten tournament, how it was a success at the end. It really showed that they could bounce back. But damn, if we could put it all together, we'll take that instead.
Yep, we think the pieces are there. So we'll continue to bring you some updates throughout the fall. There's going to be some scrimmages. As we find out more of that information, check our social media and the website. We'll be getting that information out. We're going to try to keep everybody informed. Once we have a schedule, I will have my annual RPI-based schedule analysis about the strength of the schedule. IU had a very strong schedule last year. The toughest in the Big Ten. I would, at least non-con in the Big Ten. The Big Ten itself is a different animal. So we'll continue to have updates and information. Most of you are aware that we're a couple of years away from realignment and California becoming part of the Big Ten. So we'll keep an eye on that, on those developments as well, which could have some, quite frankly, very positive benefits for this league, being able to add warm weather programs, really strong warm weather programs into the league. Can really help the growth of baseball. And on a personal note, I just want to say, I think, me personally, my goal as a member of IUBase.com is to kind of get everybody excited and try to get what we can to, let's just go break some attendance records at the BART next year. I think this program is close. I felt that we did a really good job as a fan base coming out to a lot of the home games last year, despite the fact that it was not a winning season. I think kind of put all those pieces together, we can make the BART one of the best home field advantages in all of college baseball. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Sorry, had to throw that in there.
I'll add for the MLB postseason, Scott F. Ross his team, I might not mention the name of his team, but his team has clinched the playoffs. So he'll be moving on to the postseason. Kyle Schwarber, I don't believe they've clinched yet, Philly, but it really looks like they're going to move on. So we can have that to follow in the MLB postseason. Caleb Barriger, Elijah Dunham are also going to, they've advanced and they're currently in minor league playoffs. And you can definitely follow whether it's David Welch or at Pro Bowl Hoosiers, both those accounts. Those guys do a great job with trying to update us with the alumni. But to see Efros out there, it's rough that he's a Yankee. All right, I said it, but no, I wish him the best. Doesn't mean I'm going to be rooting for the Yankees, though. And let's see, it's hard to root for the Phillies, too, to be honest with you. We got some Hoosiers in the playoffs, it looks like, this season, which is great. And we're just, we'll move on to those inter-squads, like Carl said. Before we know it, I think we'll be prepping for the 23 season. Opening day in February. Was it February 15th, 16th? Usually they open up.
17th, I think, is the likely.
Yeah. Okay. Looking forward to another season. It was great to see the guys out on the field. And, we'll see what's in store come February.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chris. So for Chris Fenny, I'm Carl James. See you at the BART.